Good morning, students. I welcome you all for the online class of economics. Today, we will be going to start our new chapter, that is liberalization, privatization, and globalization, a global appraisal. In this chapter, we will be going to learn the new economic policy 1991, how it has been established, and how it had been worked. In this, we will be learning this topic, that is the rationale of economic reforms, crisis of 1991, economic reforms since 1991, new economic policy, objectives of it, components of new economic policy. Then we will be going to learn one by one the liberalization, privatization, and globalization. The rationale of economic reforms, as I already introduced you in the last class, crisis of 1991. In 1991, economic reforms were introduced in India because 1991 was a year of crisis for the Indian economy. It is clear from the following facts. Very first, national income was growing at the rate of 0.8%. Inflation reached the height of 16.8%, means the as compared to income, the prices of the goods has been increased, and because of that, very poor condition of our country was there, and that was the inflation, which was increased by 16.8%. Balance of payment crisis was to the extent of 10,000 crores. India was highly indebted country. It was paying 30,000 crores interest charges per year. It is very important matter that 30,000 crore interest were paid. How much was the principal amount? So was the India's condition. It was indebted before the countries. Foreign exchanges reserves were only $1.8 billion, which were sufficient for 3 weeks. India sold large amount of gold to Bank of England. India applied for the loan from World Bank and IMF to the extent of $7 billion. Fiscal deficit was more than 7.5%. Deficit financing was around 3%. Trade relation with Soviet bloc has broken down. So these were the economic reforms conditions, students. Economic crisis in 1991. Statistics bear testimony to the fact that genes of the economic crisis in India in 1991 lies in the large and persistent macroeconomic imbalances that developed over the 1980s. The main causes of this crisis were growing fiscal imbalances, large fiscal deficit due to government expenditures, high level of borrowing from Reserve Bank of India, rising money supply resulting in high rate of inflation. So this was the reason why new economic policy in 1991 came. Remittance from non-resident India stopped due to war in Arab countries. Prices of petroleum products was very high. For availing the loan, the International Monetary Fund and World Bank expected India to liberalize and open up the economy. They helped India, and they said they will be helping India only when they will be liberalizing, means free of license system they will be doing, open up the economy by removing restrictions on the private sector, reduce the role of government in many areas, and remove trade restrictions. India agreed to the conditional list of World Bank and International Monetary Fund. The rationale or need for economic reforms arose from the crisis India was facing in 1991. Experience of some of the Asian countries, including South Korea, Singapore, Thailand, showed that they could achieve high return from economic reforms in 1980s. Economic reforms since 1991, student, if we will be seeing, that was the need of our country when we have to make hand with the outer side country for doing the trade. Not because our country was only indebted, just because we had stopped the foreigners to do the business in our country, we stopped them to invest in our country, and our economic progress was not so high that they can do the investment. So economic reforms or structural adjustment is a long-term multi-dimensional package of various policies and programs for further economic development. It includes reforms in agricultural sector, industrial sector, financial sector, fiscal sector, international trade, etc. In India, the speedy and proper implementation of economic reforms were undertaken by the Narasimha Rao government in July 1991. Now we will be going to learn objectives of National Economic Policy 1991, or you can say the New Economic Policy 1991. The objectives of new economic policy are to reduce fiscal deficit, means the taxation deficit what we are having, it has to be reduced to have relative price stability, to reduce the area of operation of the public sector and to open up more areas of the private sector, to liberalize the industrial policy and abolish the industrial licensing for most of the private sector industries, to encourage inflow of foreign capital by granting more concessions to foreign direct investment, to liberalize foreign trade by reducing tariff duties and abolishing quota restrictions in case of money imports. So these were the objectives of National Economic Policy 1991, in which we have said fiscal deficit has to be reduced and have relative price stability, and the area of operation means various public sector has to be ready so that public sector can make the investment in the welfare of the society, and private sector will be getting the opportunity to make profit maximization, which will be making further the uh, economic development of our country. To encourage inflow of foreign capital by granting more concessions to foreign direct investment. So these were the trade policies objectives of new economic policy. Components of new economic policy 1991, if you will be seeing, the two components of new economic policy 1991 are as follows. Very first, macroeconomic stabilization, that is demand side management. Macroeconomic stabilization policies are short-term measures to return to low and stable inflation and a sustainable fiscal and balance of payment. The stabilization policies brings about demand side management, which includes measures like control of inflation, fiscal correction, improvement in the balance of payment situation. So this is macroeconomic stabilization, student, in which demand side management is done. In this macroeconomic stabilization policies are short-term measures to return to low and stable inflation and a sustainable fiscal and balance of payments position. This has been done for three things. Inflation, which was increasing a very great height, 16.8%, it has to be controlled. Fiscal correction, people were not paying the tax, and tax is a part of revenue of the government, from which government treasury money the government can make the welfare of the society. That was not coming just because people were stealing the tax. So because of that, fiscal correction needed. Improvement in a balance of payment situation was done. Next comes structural adjustment, supply side management. When we see supply side management, students, structural adjustment policies are long-term measures to remove the bottlenecks and obstacles in the growth plan of the economy. This policy bring about supply side management, which include measures like trade and capital flow reforms, industrial regulations, deregulations, public sector reforms and disinvestment, financial sector reforms. So these were the various reforms which were made, that is the trade and capital flow reforms, industrial deregulations program. According to that, the SIC units will be taken over by the government to make it again in a back situation, and the very 6 unit which cannot be re-established has to be totally shut down. Public sector reforms and disinvestment started, in which public sector started investment in those reforms only which will be having a high profit. Other reforms will be totally stopped by the public sector, in which their unnecessary investment of the public sector will be there, and they will be not able to make the welfare of the society. Financial sector reforms were made. Let us see all the reforms one by one. The goals of structural reform is to abolish control, eliminate bureaucratic hurdles and tapism, and make the decision-making process efficient and transparent. The new economic policy of liberalization, globalization and privatization came. In this new economic policy 1991, structure reforms can be seen with respect to liberalization, privatization and globalization. When we talk liberalization, student, and this license system, liberalization means removing all unnecessary controls and restrictions like permits, license, protectionist, duties, goals, quotas, etc. imposed by the government. Prior to 1991, government was reinforcing regulations in many ways. Industrial licensing, in this every entrepreneur had to get permission from government to start a firm, expand a firm, or to start production of a new goods. Private sector was not allowed in many industries. Some goods could be produced only small scale industries. Price control and control on distribution of selected industrial products will be done. Import license, in this license had to be taken to import. Foreign exchange control will be done. Restrictions on investment by big business houses, etc. This control resulted in consumption delays, inefficiencies, losses, high cost economy. Objectives of liberalization, when we see, it was believed that market forces would guide the economy in a more effective manner with liberalization. Countries like Korea, Singapore and Thailand, which have gained rapid economic development due to liberalization, had such an example. Objectives of the policy of liberalization in 1991 are as follows: to raise internal competitiveness of industrial production, to raise foreign investment and technology, to reduce debt burden of the country, to get an opportunity to export to developed countries and to import capital goods and machinery from them. Liberalization measures, when we see, it was introduced in many areas like in July 1991, like for example industrial sector reforms. Government announced the new economic industrial policy in 1991. The main industrial reforms were abolition of industrial licensing. Industrial licensing was abolished for all projects except for 6 industries related to security and strategic concerns, social reasons, hazardous chemicals, and overriding environmental reasons and items of at least consumption. These industries are liquor, cigarettes, industry explosiveness, defense equipments, drugs and pharmaceuticals, and dangerous chemicals. Contraction of public sector. The number of industry exclusive reserved for the public sector has been reduced from 17 to 3. The only industry reserved for the public sector were defense, railways, and atomic and energy reserve generation. Reforms in small scale sector. According to the new economic policy, limit of small scale industries has been increased to 1 crore with a view to modernize them. Many goods produced by small scale industries units have now been de-reserved. When we say concession in the MRTP Act, the new industrial policy scrapped the threshold limit of assets in respect of MRTP and dominant undertakings. These reforms will not now be at par with others and now require prior approval from the government for investment in the de-licensed industries. The MRTP Act, that is the Monopoly Restrictive and Trade Practice Act, has been accordingly amended. The new act gives more emphasis to the prevention and control of monopolistic, restrictive, and unfair trade practices. Now comes the financial sector reforms. How the financial sector reforms work. Prior to 1991, banking institutions were subject to much control by the Reserve Bank of India through high bank rate, cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio. This RBI had increased so as to make a control over the commercial banks. Financial sector reforms include banking and non-banking financial institutions, stock exchange market, foreign exchange market. In India, financial sector is regulated and controlled by the Reserve Bank of India. Liberalization implied there was a substantial shift in role of the Reserve Bank of India from regulator to a facilitator of the financial sector. Earlier, as a regulator, the Reserve Bank of India would itself fix interest rate structure for the commercial bank. After liberalization in 1991, Reserve Bank of India as a facilitator would only facilitate free play of the market forces and leave it to the commercial banks to decide the interest rate structure. Thus, with liberalization, competition prevails rather than controls. So this was for today's topic, students, liberalization and the reforms. We will continue the next topic in the next class.